Hello there, folks. I hope you are nice and warm and cuddly. I don't know where you're sitting. I don't know where you're standing. If you're walking in a skogen, remember, I am not behind you. I am with you. This week's pod is a brilliant one. So thank you for joining me, and let's get ready. According to the World Health Organization, 5% of all people globally suffer from depression. The official number for depression in Sweden has risen from 11% in 2013 up to 30% in 2020. 2020, that number's before the pandemic. Oh, man. So as winter time approaches, darkness is approaching, it's so important to stay close, stay connected to your loved ones and find things that you're passionate about. Things that you love doing. And talking of passion, my dream guest this week is Mattias Klum. Over the next bit of time, we will talk many, many things. We'll talk about Mattias, how he got into photography, what his dad told him to do after his dad got quite annoyed by him, and it led to this beautiful moment which you will hear about. We'll talk about where we will go for this dream fika and the mystery cake. There's a lot to talk about there. So please join me. This guy he's a brilliant person and known as one of the world's greatest freelance photographers. We are in the presence of photography royalty. Without further ado, my dream guest this week is Mattias Klum. So here we are, the dream guest. It's Mattias Klum. And I really like, that's a solid name for me.
It is?
Mattias Klum. That sounds like a serious person. But the minutes I've spent before sitting down with you, you're not that serious.
Well, parts of me, I think, I can be serious, but I actually also enjoy a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you one to just grab life and have it?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's, if I can be serious for a moment, I think that there are quite many challenges we're facing.
Yeah.
And I'm in the midst of that since I'm a photographer and filmmaker, and I'm basically focused on that a bit. So I think it's quite important to have fun and enjoy life and really, celebrate life, honestly.
Yeah, it gets to sort of cliches, doesn't it? And at the end of it, you're kind of like, I think you don't want to get to the end of it and go, I didn't live the life I lived. Oh, this is a heavy start. We're just going to sit down and have a fika, and I have laid some heaviness. You said you're filmmaker, photographer, or would you say photographer, filmmaker?
Either or.
Either or.
Yeah.
But when I sort of look you up and I see what you've done, there's a lot more to you than that. Or have you just gone, I just want 2 titles, I'm sick of.
No, I mean, I've been super privileged because I've been able to work in many parts of the world, and I'm quite a passionate person, and I enjoy meetings, encounters.
Yeah.
Like sitting here with you is fun, and crawling next to, up to an anaconda in the Amazon is equally fun.
It's the same thing.
Well, more or less.
Yes, yeah. You started photography way when you're 23 was the first National Geographic cover.
No, actually, I started working for them when I was 23. My first cover was when I was 29.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
It's 6-year wait, eh?
Oh, that was tough.
And you're like, hey, what about this? And they're like, nah, go back out there and lay down with that anaconda.
Yep.
What a buzz that must have been.
It was. It was a dream. It wasn't even a dream come true because I didn't have that kind of a dream, honestly. It was quite serendipitous because, when they pick a cover, let's say they have 10 photographers per issue. Yeah. And then each photographer has his or her own illustrations editor, picture editor, and they all pitch a number of options, right? So you'll have the editor at the end might have 60, 70 covers to choose from. So it's like, and I felt as very, very young at that time, the youngest photographer, that it was like, no chance in hell that I would get a cover. So when they said I had one, I was like, wow, this is nice. Yeah. So it felt good.
What a buzz. And like, was any kickback from the old photographers?
Just pleasantries. I remember one of
Is it a pleasant world though? Between photographers?
At National Geographic, on that level, I would say people are super supportive.
Yeah.
It's not the law of Jante, much of it, it's really good for you. Well done, and they're really, I remember one of he was like a god, James Stanfield. He had done so many stories for National Geographic. If you remember the Bridges over Madison County, about this, Clint Eastwood basically starred as a National Geographic photographer. Yeah. And, well, anyway, he did basically an internship with this guy, Stanfield. Wow. And I remember when I walked through the corridors with my first issue, the god, Stanfield, just went straight to me and he hugged me.
Wow.
Fatherly, and said, man,
the future looks good.
And that was quite emotional, actually. Yeah. It was beautiful, yeah.
So you're 55?
Yes.
Yeah. So technology's changed. We're going to get on to how the world is and how you're going to solve its problems in this podcast.
Right. Perfect. No pressure, right?
I mean, we've got time. We've got time.
Plenty.
But I was amazed by like the titles, the things you've been given, the awards. Like, it's just... Do you ever get sick of it? You're just really good.
No, I mean, honestly, I've had, as I said from the very beginning, I mean, I've been blessed because I've been able to go into worlds that truly move me, and I've been able to, have the chance to capture what has moved me and to sometimes move others. And so I'm a storyteller, and I use my camera, and there's so many things that need our attention, and I've basically just been able to, for many years, do that all over the world, and for great, great organizations.
Yeah. Just to be a bit of an idiot, is it lying down? When you're out there, you're lying down. Have you ever missed the shot? Have you ever...
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Is there there's a moment, I don't know, where the road kind of forks and you're like, why didn't I? Or you look down, check your phone, check your Instagram, you're like, I missed that.
It has happened. I've made horrendous mistakes. I mean, I've been such an idiot at times.
Is that part of the job?
Part of me. Being an idiot.
No, is it part of you to kind of mess up?
I have messed up. I remember once in the Amazon, I was standing on a ridge. It was a beautiful morning. So the mist just started lifting and it was just this precious light. I could see a big raptor, basically a big bird of prey approaching me, just gliding like on the thermite, it's just so beautifully approaching me. And I had this big 600mm lens, and I aimed and I focused. I had 5 frames per second in the motor drive, and I started like bam, 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 and I felt that, oh wow, that's another one, that's another good one. I was like, yeah. And then in those days, there was 36 to 37 frames in a roll, right?
Yeah.
So I felt, okay, I'm just gonna finish the roll, of course, because this is like, it's one of the most reclusive and shy and hard to photograph birds of prey in the entire Amazon. I was so blessed I got this. But then I realized after a while that the roll never ended. It just went on, and then I just realized, oh my God, I don't have any film in the camera. So I'd basically taken my best pictures ever of this incredible harpy eagle, this icon. This amazing bird that
you're like, cover, here it comes.
Yeah. with no bloody film in the camera.
Schoolboy era.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm in the Amazon.
horrendous.
Yeah.
Horrendous.
Yeah.
And others. I mean, I could make a long list of my screw ups, but every once in a while, I've succeeded.
Well, I mean, let's not me mansplain you here, but bloody hell, you've done well, my friend. Part of the podcast is that we imagine, because you can take me anywhere. You can take me anywhere for this fika. Where would it be, Mattias? Where would you like us to sit and have a coffee and a chat and and get to know each other?
There's so many places to choose from, but I would say right now I would like us to climb a huge dipterkopp tree in the rainforests of Borneo. And we will have a backpack. We will have the coffee in a thermos. We would have whatever we have with us.
Yeah.
And we will put on a harness and we will climb the static climbing ropes to about 200 feet up in the canopy.
Yeah.
And they're tall trees, 55, 60, 65 meters tall. And we will climb out on these massive branches.
Yeah.
We'll sit next to each other like two little pigeons.
Yeah. Shitting on people below. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but that
depends on the coffee.
That comes much later. Exactly.
Yeah.
And the fika bröd. I mean, it really depends. Yeah. So, and then overlooking this ancient 100 million year old rainforest.
Wow.
Listening to the morning cries of the gibbons. Oh man, I think that would be a fika.
Bloody hell! I thought I was happy with local conditori or something like that.
That works too.
Yeah, but like we're up there.
I'm
now.
not fussy.
And what kind of coffee we're having?
We're having a bean called Gusto, and it's an organic bean, and it's just lovely. And we might have some oat milk in it just to make it a little bit soft and nice and, good for our bellies. So we won't shit on people below.
This is what
Oh my God, look at that. Oh, surprise. The thing about sitting up there is that by reading and listening to nature, the gibbons and the rhinoceros hornbills and the barbets and everything, it becomes so intimate, even though you can't necessarily see the animals calling.
Yeah.
But it's so beautiful. You're like embraced by this ancient forest.
And you've got an ear for it, so you'd know.
It's part of my job, basically. Because if I can't hear or read what happens and what will happen, I won't get the same pictures or the pictures that are relevant or good enough. So
it must be a nightmare to go to Skansen with. You'd be like, hold on, the bears having an orgasm. I don't know why I said that, but what have you always had that dream then, or?
I mean, as a boy, I went out on little mini expeditions because I had my parents had a summer cottage in Dalarna, outside of Ludvika, and I remember waking up early and going out on the lake in our little rowing boat and just experiencing everything around, little loons or beavers or owls and frogs or just beautiful stones, patterns, light shapes. And I could easily dream myself away. I could change that or like imagine that little viper, for example, would be a king cobra.
Yeah.
Or that little
vattensnook.
Vattensnook would be a reticulated python.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think I was a little, a dreamer, basically.
I mean, that's amazing. I think that's great. I mean, I used to go in the forest just to look for like adult magazines as a kid, but that's
Any
all
luck?
I did. And that, they were different snooks. But
Jesus.
But if we were having this fika in the Borneo forest, is it forest? Yeah.
Yeah. Rainforest.
Mm-hmm. That's something I want to talk to you about. Are we a bit screwed with everything? Because you're seeing...
I mean, I tend to try to see solutions, but we're putting immense pressure on our natural systems.
Yeah.
It's a very serious situation, both when it comes to our climate issues, but not least when it comes to the loss of biodiversity. And we're in the midst of the sixth mass extinction of species and destabilization of ecosystems. And some people would argue that, well, that's too bad, but we will survive. The thing is, we can't basically decouple us from nature. We're part of nature. So our best chance of having a good tomorrow and a good future for our kids and their kids is to embrace and value and cherish and protect the remaining beauty, because there lies resilience, quality, stability for future generations, financially and every other way. So, I mean, I believe in us, but we need to bridge the gap between our clever human mind and our emotional human heart. IQ, EQ, if you understand. Right? And we don't.
No. But we are savable, though.
You know, some years ago, I had the great privilege of having a lunch with a Nobel laureate, Elinor Ostrom. Beautiful, wonderful person. And she had forgotten that she had an interview. So all of a sudden, in the midst of our lunch, this journalist, like, "Hi, I'm sorry, but can I ask a question?" And she said, "Yes, of course." And he asked, "What is the one thing we need to do to save the planet?" And she looked at him and she looked at me, and then she said, "Well, honestly, the first thing is that the planet doesn't necessarily need saving. We do."
Wow. Okay.
And she smiled. And then she said, "And there's not one thing. We have multiple challenges, so we need multiple solutions. They're not just one magic wand or silver bullet.
Just go this,
We need to work, together, cross-platform." And I strongly, strongly believe that. I think she was like spot on.
So we wanted to have a fika together. This is probably the most dramatic fika I've had. That's one of the questions I normally ask. Is we were going to bring out we'll bring out the fika now. Apart from meeting the guests and get to know, this is my favorite part now. So exciting. Maybe you can
look at that.
You can
how elegant.
You can reveal.
Wow.
May
I
reveal the conceal? Yes, of course.
Ooh, okay. This is like very, very fancy. Okay. Voila. Oh, wow. Look at that. Have you tried mandelbulle?
I don't think I have. I've been off the sugar recently, so this is going to be, this conversation could change.
It's going to shock you completely.
I think it'll cut and I'll just have no shirt on. I'll be sweating and stuff.
Might happen to me as well. I'm sweating already. Just looking at it.
Oh, thank you. Oh, looking at me. Thank you. Wow. That's really tasty. And
oh my God.
And heavy. Heavy.
Wow. There are 4 kilos of butter in this one.
I mean,
Madonna, this is incredible.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to be carried home.
Oh, thank God it's Friday, huh?
We always record on Fridays.
I've had my share of sort of exotic fikas, I must say, but rarely with a bun this delicious. So, I mean, the Dream Guest studio with Al Pitcher is like, this is kick-ass fika.
This is the place to be.
It is.
Yeah.
I'll come back every week.
Yeah. Well, it's going to... You take I should be applauding you. I was just like, yeah, well, I paid nothing. These guys are amazing and they've organised this. And I'm like, well, thank you, Mattias. That is very nice of you. Do you do your lectures now? Do you get up and...
I do, yeah. Every once in a while, or as much as I can.
And you like that?
I enjoy it. Yeah, I really enjoy it. I remember the first time I gave a lecture, I was a teenager, and it was my mom and dad, basically. I think they ran out of juice. They were like completely exhausted hearing me talk all the time about snakes and tigers and whatever. My dad said one day, maybe you should go to the old people's home and just volunteer as a storyteller and give a lecture. And I said, why on earth would they want to hear me?
Yeah,
You never know. He said, you never know. Maybe they're like super bored. Maybe they never get anything fun happening to them. So why don't you just go there, knock on the door and say, hi, my name is Mattias Klum. I'm a nature photographer. And it was such an embarrassing moment. This beautiful young nurse opened and says, what can I do for you? I looked like I was like 9 years old. And I said, I can perhaps give a lecture. And she said, okay, well, that might be interesting. And I was like completely surprised. And she asked what the cost, how much it would be. And I said, oh, I don't know. But then I think I got like 120 kroner or something like that, which was like
it's amazing. Yeah.
And then I came back, I think the day after, and I gave a lecture, and
I love this.
It was like 60 minutes of pretty shitty pictures, recorded sounds, and it was dark in the room, and I was talking, and the sounds of the pond from Dalarnas, and then when they put on the lights again, they were all asleep. They were fast asleep, snoring, all these elderly people. And I thought to myself, shit, this wasn't a great success. Then one nurse in a wheelchair started to approach me with this very old lady. And the old lady held my arm, like old people can do, quite firmly. And then she cried. Yeah. And she said, I'm blind. And I thought again, oh shit. Yeah. I've been showing pictures they're all asleep except one, and she's blind. But then she said something that moved my heart. She said, I'm old and I'm blind, and I'd never thought I'd experience my summers as a young girl. And you gave that to me. And then the nurse started crying. And then I started crying because it was such a contagious, emotional moment that we both, all three of us, the woman sat there, the nurse and I, we were all crying. And I came back to my mother and father and said, how did it go, darling? And I said, they all fell asleep except one that cried. And then they said, she cried. Oh, was that good or bad? And I said, I think it was really, really good.
Yeah, beautiful.
And then at that very moment, I realized, this might be the best job in the world. Yeah. Because if you can move a person that much through a story, wow.
Yeah. I mean, I had someone fall asleep, but they at a gig, but they didn't wake up and start crying. I think they just stood up and went, "What the hell am I doing here?" and left. So, no, what a brilliant thing from your father, though. Yeah. I was a bit of a chatter when I was a kid, and my dad would just get annoyed. He would not have a kind suggestion. How does your kind of year work? Like, would someone say, right, we've got a job expedition, or what would it call? Like project, and then you go, right, you have to go to the Amazon for 3 whatever and come back with what you get. Is it that? I think people would be really interested in how that works.
Yeah, no, but sometimes it works that way, that an organization or a foundation or some kind of company calls me and say, okay, we are working with this national park, let's say in the Amazon, and this huge area, and it's under threat, and there's an ethnic minority living adjacent to it, and they're also under severe threat, and we have scientists working there, but we need some kind of an exposure or visualization of the project. Yeah. And could you consider doing this, because we need it for fundraising, we need it to create an awareness campaign, and we need it to get politicians and people's attention. Yeah. And so that's usually where it starts. Yeah. And then it could be away for weeks or months. Okay. And it could take years. Sometimes. Yeah. Wow. And then it could result in a book or or a documentary film or both, or an exhibition, and then eventually parts of lectures, right?
Yeah. So it's gone are the days of 120 kroner in a...
Yeah, now it's 150 kroner and coffee.
And have you got any like ambitions now in life? Is there any left for you?
No.
You've done it all?
I've done everything. Just kidding.
Apart from finishing that bun.
Yeah, no.
There's no...
No, I just got started, honestly.
Yeah?
Yeah. No, I'm so curious, and I feel so happy that I can do what feels meaningful.
Yeah.
I get to meet incredible people.
Thank you.
And thank you. Yeah, I was just about to say it. You were just too quick. Man, you got to give it some.
Mate, talking of, the sugar's really kicking in now. Let's get our shirts off.
It's the mystery cake.
So now we have a section of the Dream Guest where we have a mystery cake. One cake that I don't know. I've got the info here. It is, obviously, I can't read it yet. I would like you, Mr. Klum, to reveal.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Such a privilege. Very exciting.
There we go.
Voila. Ah.
Wow.
I think some soft ginger cake with butter and cheese, no?
What did you call me? No, you are correct. Peppercocker gingerbread.
I thought so.
Yes. Or gingerbread. It's just a translation. The history of peppercocker and gingerbread. This is going to take a while, so you can relax. This is one of my...
Can I lean back?
Yes. You might be asleep, and I might have to wake you up, and I'll be crying. A gingerbread-like cookies is estimated to go back roughly 4,000 years to the ancient Mesopotamia. These delicious cookies didn't go bad or get moldy, which made them ideal food and souvenirs for people traveling afar.
Wow.
Or far. The Swedish peppercocker tradition is said to have come from medieval Germany. Back then, peppercocker was often baked in monasteries for medicinal purposes, and although today peppercocker does not include pepper in the recipe, but instead ginger, cinnamon, cloves, and cardamom, gingerbread is still called peppercake in some countries, like in Sweden, after its German origins. In Sweden, we celebrate peppercocker every year, December the 9th, which might be a Friday. We don't know that. That.
Yeah, we hope so.
There's still bits. Get relaxed. The modern peppercocker takes many local unique twists and come in countless different forms. Today's mystery cake is skånska peppercocker.
Yes, that's what I figured. Yes, I've actually... Oh, this is exciting. Maybe try them?
These...
Oh, they skådebröd.
Sorry, I've got 4 more pages.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, okay. I'll shut up.
What do you like watching movies? You must be like, get on with it.
I know. Like...
These puffy looking and soft in the middle peppercocker are also called frukost peppercocker.
Oh.
Since they are often enjoyed with some butter and cheese on top. So there we go, Mattias. You can now eat.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Skånska peppercocker.
All right. Okay, so I just grab one.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, here we go.
Very chewy.
Very chewy. But actually, it's nice, isn't it? But it's very different from the hard, sort of crispy ones, right?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, the traditional like peppercocker hoots kind of.
Yeah.
But you can really taste the ginger in that.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and the cheese is a nice touch.
It is. I like it.
It would be a different frukost for me.
Yeah, but I could fancy it sometimes, maybe once a year.
But that's the skånska. I mean, I've tried.
Do you like Skåne?
I find them very hard to understand.
The peppercocker or the Skånish people?
Just the language, the people, and the peppercocker. All
right.
Three. Let's take them. Comedically, they are brilliant audiences because...
I shouldn't laugh. Why did I laugh?
That wasn't even a joke. And you were like, I'm going to laugh at this.
I'm easy to please.
No, their kind of left side of their brain is a bit... they're into it. You can improvise. You can take them places where I think the further north you get in Sweden, I think they want the jokes and don't be too silly.
Oh yeah,
you know.
So yeah.
So
I like Skåne myself. I used to have a house there, and I really like it. Yeah, it's something I like.
Where would you love to live if you could?
Well,
I
at
suppose
the
you
moment,
could live anywhere.
at the moment, I live in London, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah,
and then I live in Uppsala, and I enjoy that too.
Didn't you get like freedom of the city or something in Uppsala, or
What on
an
earth is that?
honorary citizen?
Yeah, yes, honorary citizen.
Yeah.
Yes, but no freedom.
No freedom. Swedish freedom. No freedom. Just do what you're told. No, some people get the key to the city, don't they? Like the freedom of...
Yeah, I lost that.
Yeah. What's the greatest photo ever taken?
That's a matter of taste. It's like saying, what is the greatest classical piece of music ever written? Or, I mean, it's like, for some, it's Mozart's Requiem. For others, it's like, yeah. For me, it's one of them. But so I find it so difficult. But personally, I love diversity, because sometimes I wake up and I want to listen to this, or I want to see that. And with my own pictures, it's the same thing. I mean, I couldn't really say which one I prefer. As I said, I love diversity, and I love to be able to, in a sort of a transient, vulnerable state, pick and choose depending on how I feel.
Yeah.
So I'm not very formatted. Like I always do this, and I always think that, and I always like, I'm sort of wacky and free. Yeah.
Are you always thinking in photographs?
Not always. I also think in sequences.
Yeah. I like that. You're also a movie maker, and you do still as well. What is it that you still? You sort of understand.
Well, I mean, the thing is with a film, you can use rhythm, music, the pacing of the story, how you edit it, etc. It's a living organism, right? And you can tweak it, and you can grade it, and you can do so many things with it that it can become. Every single frame within might not be as interesting as the totality of it, and the sound can be even more important than the actual frame. So you show. Like, it could be black, and you have a great sound. It's unbelievable sometimes. You know, it's like so intense, right?
Yeah.
While with a still photograph, it's got to do the whole job. Everything needs to. It could be very subtle, could be really abstract, or it could be very like documentarian, but it has to do its job on its own, right?
And no preference?
No, again, I mean, it's like with cookies or food or music. I basically love it all, and sometimes I'm drawn to. Let's say I encounter something, or I see something, then I feel it in my body, in my heart, in my brain. Mm-hmm. This needs to be moving. It needs to be film, or it needs to be still, or it needs to be both. But I usually feel that quite instantly. What I want to do, what I want to make of it.
Yeah. Have you ever felt in danger doing your job?
Yeah, it has happened. Yeah. I mean, especially when you're in situations where, for example, in Congo, in the DRC, for example, I've worked on projects where, you know, there's so many issues there with the illegal coal mining, illegal logging, lots of children soldiers, really, really sad, problematic, many poor people, sick people, etc. But in the midst of that, there's always love, happiness, loyalty, and joy, right? So, but sometimes if you end up with all this equipment, being a white, middle-aged dude, you stand out, right? So you have to, sometimes they can be really, really, really dangerous. With animals, very rarely. I've been unfortunate a few times to be really sick in tropical diseases, and that's also dangerous, can be dangerous. But when it comes to polar bears, cobras, lions, etc., usually it works really, really well. Comedians, that's borderline. I was fearing for my life. I thought to myself, maybe how can I habituate this guy?
Just take a photo of me first.
Yeah, I have to approach you really carefully or build a blind.
Mattias, this is... Wow, we have spoken for a long, long time. This has been, we probably won't even edit much of it, honestly, because it's just been really, you've been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Please give it up, Mattias, my dream guest, Mattias Klum. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For more information on me, please go to my website, alpitcher.com.
This podcast was produced by Soulside Productions and recorded at Clarion Hotel Sign in Stockholm.